If you find rich and smart in the same person, there is no dilemma. That is the best case. This video is about what happens when wealth and wisdom do not arrive together. Because some marriages give you immediate access to a better lifestyle before they give you real agency inside that lifestyle. The house is already there. The vacations already exist. The family advisor already knows the plan. You are welcomed into a life that looks secure from the outside, but you may not yet know which decisions are truly yours. And another marriage may not give you luxury on day one, but it gives you something quieter, honesty about money discipline under pressure, emotional maturity, and a partner who knows how to build without making you disappear. So this is not rich people versus smart people. This is existing wealth versus wealth-building wisdom. This is access versus agency. Let's live both lives across the same 26 years. Year 1 to 3 entry into marriage. In the life where you marry into wealth, you are the new spouse who moves into a house you did not choose, signs a prenup reviewed by lawyers who keep saying standard protection, and realizes the family accountant knows more about your financial future than your own parents do. The first year feels like being upgraded before you have been oriented. The kitchen is bigger, the calendar is fuller, the vacations appear before you even ask for them. A family assistant emails you 3 flight options for Aspen, and your partner says it casually, like this is how everyone plans February. Then comes the meeting in a glass office in Midtown or Century City. The lawyer is polite. Your partner is calm. The words are soft, but the meaning is not separate. Property, family, assets, future, inheritance, protection. You are not being rejected. You are being defined. At dinner, your in-laws say, "We should ask our advisor." And you notice the word "our" does not automatically include you. You feel chosen and evaluated in equal measure. Access opens the door, but it does not tell you which rooms are yours. In the life where you marry into financial wisdom, you are the new spouse still renting a 2-bedroom apartment, sharing an aging car and discovering that love feels different when both people can open the same spreadsheet. There is no instant glow-up. There is rent, student debt, car insurance, groceries, and a first emergency fund that grows so slowly it almost feels insulting. On Thursday nights, you sit at the table with 2 laptops open, arguing about whether eating out twice a week is normal or reckless. But after each uncomfortable conversation, something becomes clearer. One rule about spending, one rule about saving, one rule about debt, one rule about telling the truth before resentment gets expensive. You feel grounded and delayed in equal measure. The life is smaller at first, but both of you can see the map. Year 4 to 7, kids, housing, and pressure. In the life where you marry into wealth, you are the parent who can afford the night nurse, the private preschool consultant, and the pediatrician recommended through the country club, but still has to ask whose money is really making the decision. Money removes certain kinds of panic. You are not lying awake calculating whether daycare will erase an entire paycheck. You are interviewing nannies in a kitchen with enough space for 3 adults to move around the island without bumping shoulders. When the baby does not sleep, someone knows a specialist. When the preschool application feels overwhelming, someone has a name. But help rarely arrives empty-handed. Your in-laws offer to pay for school as a gift. Then they have thoughts about which school. They help with the down payment. Then they have thoughts about where you should live. You suggest moving closer to your own family, and your partner says, "Let's talk to my parents first since they helped with the house." Nobody is yelling. Nobody is cruel. That is what makes it confusing. You feel protected and managed in equal measure. Comfort can solve the bill without solving the power dynamic. In the life where you marry into financial wisdom, you are the parent comparing daycare costs against take-home pay, arguing over whose meeting can be missed, and learning that equality sounds cleaner before a baby is crying at 2:17 a.m. This life has less help, but more direct negotiation. The Google Calendar looks like a military schedule: daycare pickup, pediatric appointment, performance review, grocery delivery. One of you is on Zoom with the camera off, rocking the baby with one foot. The fights are not pretty. Who is doing more invisible labor? Whose career has more upside? Who gets sleep? Who gets to be tired out loud? Research using data from 4,574 couples found that financial disagreements were among the strongest predictors of divorce. But the difference here is not that you avoid money conflict. The difference is that you refuse to let conflict become silence. You feel equal and exhausted in equal measure. This marriage is not easier because it is equal. It is equal because both people keep returning to the hard conversation. Year 8 to 15, career peak years. In the life where you marry into wealth, you are the spouse whose children are in the right schools, whose home has appreciated, and whose calendar is full of beautiful obligations that quietly remind you how little of this life began with your signature. From the outside, this is the stage where the choice looks brilliant. The house is stable. The kids have tutors, sports coaches, summer programs, and friends whose parents casually mention board seats. You sit on a charity committee. You help run the school auction. You know which families are separated but still posing together at fundraisers. Your contribution is real. It just does not always have a clean title. Then, one afternoon, an old friend asks, "So what are you working on now?" And you pause too long, not because you do nothing, but because the work of maintaining a wealthy household can disappear behind the wealth itself. Your partner's assistant knows the travel schedule before you do. The family advisor knows about a trust update before anyone explains it at dinner. You are inside the life, but some doors still open from the other side. You feel comfortable and trapped in equal measure. The lifestyle is real, but so is the question of who you become when comfort does not require your ambition. In the life where you marry into financial wisdom, you are the spouse who survived the daycare years, increased household income, one negotiation at a time, and watched automatic investments become quiet proof that boring decisions can change a life. This stage is not glamorous. It is promotion cycles, retirement contributions, mortgage rates, a used car that lasts 3 years longer than expected, and an emergency fund that finally feels like a real wall between your family and chaos. You are tired. Sometimes you envy the wealth life. You see the kitchen renovations, the ski trips, the private school photos, and you wonder whether building everything together has cost you more youth than you expected. But there are no locked financial rooms, no advisor you are not allowed to meet, no family meeting where you only hear the result after the decision has already been made. You feel free and tired in equal measure. You are not being carried into a life, you are carrying it together, the middle path. But the honest answer is not that one life is automatically shallow and the other is automatically noble. Rich and smart are not opposites. The strongest marriage may be the third category wealth with wisdom, or at least a peer-level partnership where both people bring something real to the table. Income, discipline, honesty, ambition, and emotional regulation. Pew Research found that in 2022, 29% of opposite-sex marriages in the U.S. were egalitarian, up from 11% in 1972. The dream is not simply marrying up. The dream is marrying someone who can build without making you disappear. Year 16 to 25. Empty nest and ownership. In the life where you marry into wealth, you are the spouse whose children are leaving for college, whose home has rooms that stay clean for entire weeks, and whose marriage now has to survive without logistics pretending to be intimacy. For years, the calendar protected everyone from silence. Drop-off pickup games, tutors, fundraisers, doctor appointments, summer plans. There was always another task to make the marriage feel active. Now, the house is beautiful and strangely quiet. You sit in a kitchen with stone counters, fresh flowers, and a refrigerator covered with old-school photos. Estate planning conversations start happening more often. College funding is discussed. Trusts are updated. Your in-laws are older now, but their influence has not disappeared. It has simply moved from parenting advice into legacy planning. You are included in family rituals, holiday dinners, and graduation photos. But inclusion is not the same as power. The prenup from year one returns not as a document, but as a feeling. You feel secure and replaceable in equal measure. A beautiful life can still ask whether you were a co-author or a long-term guest. In the life where you marry into financial wisdom, you are the spouse whose children are older, whose house may not impress strangers, and whose greatest luxury is knowing exactly how every major decision was made. The dining table has scratches from homework tax forms, takeout boxes, and college applications. The sofa is not the one you would buy if money had been easy from the beginning. The garage still has old sports equipment nobody uses, but nobody wants to throw away. But when you sit with the financial planner, both of you ask questions. Both of you understand the answers. Both of you remember the years when one unexpected bill could ruin a month. Money once made you fight, but over time it also taught you how to tell the truth. You feel ordinary and powerful in equal measure. The house may not announce success, but the piece inside it has receipts. Year 26 plus legacy phase. In the life where you marry into wealth, you are the older spouse with access to assets, memories in expensive places, and a life that looks settled until someone asks, what would still be yours if the marriage changed shape? And to be fair, this life gave you real things. Money protected the family. It softened emergencies. It gave your children options. It turned certain problems from disasters into phone calls. There were vacations. You still remember doctors you could reach quickly and doors that opened before you had to knock. But legacy asks sharper questions than lifestyle. Do you understand the trusts? Do you control anything directly? If your partner dies first, who explains the structure to you? If the marriage becomes cold, do you still have an identity outside the last name? Prenups are no longer rare background paperwork. Harris poll reported that 15% of Americans who were married or engaged said they had signed one up, from 3% in 2010. The issue is not that prenups are bad. The issue is whether you understood the life you signed into. You feel wealthy and dependent in equal measure. The money gave you options, but not every option was yours to choose. In the life where you marry into financial wisdom, you are the older spouse who built slower than you wanted, sacrificed more weekends than people saw, and now owns a life neither of you could have assembled alone. Maybe it is not a mansion. Maybe it is a paid-off house, stable retirement accounts, adult children who understand money better than you did, and an advisor both of you chose together. But the real asset is evidence. Evidence that this person could delay gratification. Evidence that they could tell the truth when the numbers were ugly. Evidence that they did not need you smaller for the marriage to feel bigger. You feel older and certain in equal measure. What compounded was not just money, it was proof. At year 1, marrying into wealth gave you access before ownership. At year 1, marrying into wisdom gave you rules before lifestyle. By year 26, the wealth life may have given you rooms, schools, vacations, protection, and a softer landing when life became unfair. That is not nothing. But the wisdom life may have given you something quieter, a shared map of reality. The question was never whether money matters. Of course money matters. The question is what money becomes inside the marriage. Does it become a wall, a leash of fog, or a language two people can actually speak? Because marrying into wealth can give you a lifestyle. Marrying into wisdom gives you a partner. Only one of those compounds inside the marriage. So when you imagine marrying, well, ask yourself this. Are you picturing access to a better life or a person who can build one with you?